Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on context clues. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, we're doing context clues grade 7. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of context clues. All right, so our chapter is context clues. Our subject is English language arts. We are doing grade 7. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of context clues it is to determine the meaning of words using antonyms in context and to determine the meaning of domain specific words with pictures. All right. So that is going to be our two lessons for today. All right. And when it comes to context clues, right, and determining the meaning of words using antonyms in context, then when you encounter unfamiliar words, you can often use antonyms, right, words with the opposite meaning, as context clues to help determine the word's meaning. So, once again, when you encounter unfamiliar words, words that you don't know, words that you've never heard or seen, then you can often use the antonyms as context clues to help determine the word's meaning. And we see that antonyms are words with the opposite meaning. So antonyms are words with the opposite meanings. And although the bank's employees thought that the currency looked real, the federal investigator easily determined that the bills were counterfeit. All right. So we said when we see unfamiliar words within a sentence, then we can use the antonyms as context clues to help us determine the meaning of these words. And we said antonyms are words with the opposite meaning. And then we said that an example is although the bank's employees thought that the currency looked real, the federal investigator easily determined that the bills were counterfeit. All right. And if we look at that sentence where they say that the bills are counterfeit, here the antonym real can help you figure out that counterfeit actually means fake or counterfeit means that you forged it. All right. So when it comes to context clues, right? Context clues are basically like clues or words that you may use in order for you to determine what the meaning of those sentences or words are. All right. And remember, we said that we can use the antonyms, which is the word with the opposite meaning, in order for us to determine what, um, maybe what the meaning of the word of the sentence is, or how it can be used. All right, so now we're going to go to aplusstudents.ca, and we are going to basically determine the meaning of the words using antonyms in context. All right. It says, remember we said that a context clues means that if you don't know a word within a sentence, then you can use the antonyms within that specific sentence as context clues to help you determine the words' meaning or the meaning of those words, right? And antonyms, once again, are words with the opposite meaning. So antonyms are words with the opposite meaning. All right. So now we're going to look at like a like an activity, right? Let's call it an activity, and then we're going to our test. We need to say what is the meaning of the word obsolete. We need to say what's the meaning of the word obsolete as used in the passage, obsolete. And then use the antonym current as a context clue to help you determine the meaning current. All right. So now it says as technology continues to evolve, items that are valuable today may be thrown in the trash tomorrow. Typewriters, public payphones, and cassette tapes are all examples of technologies that were once current, but thanks to cell phones, and digital audios, they are now obsolete. All right. And if we were to find the antonym, right? If we were to use the antonym as a context clue to help us determine the meaning, All right. So they're saying that new technologies such as computers and cell phones and digital audios, it is now obsolete. All right. So when we look at this passage, right? So in this passage, the use of the antonym current, right? All right. So here it says in the passage, the use of the antonym current, it helps you to determine the meaning of the word obsolete. And obsolete means no longer in use. So no longer in use. So we need to basically try and find the opposite of a specific word by finding the antonyms, which is the opposite of the words. The next one says, don't be so conspicuous. Don't be so conspicuous. We need to find the meaning of the word conspicuous by using the antonym hidden as a context clue. So don't be so conspicuous. Detective Katie Chen said when her partner peered out the open car window with binoculars pressed to his face. All right. So it says that don't be so conspicuous. Detective Katie Chan said when her partner peered out the open car window with binoculars pressed to his face. We need to stay hidden as the subject of the investigation walked down the street. All right. And if we now encounter unfamiliar words, right, then remember we say that we're going to look at the antonyms. And we're going to use the antonyms as a context clue to help determine the words' meaning. All right. So if we look specifically at that picture, at this text again, right? So the word hidden, we need to stay hidden, especially if they're a person with an investigation and they see the subject They need to stay hidden. All right. So now, when it comes to conspicuous, right? Conspicuous, if we now look at our antonyms, we need to stay hidden. It's like revealing yourself is the opposite of hidden. But don't be so conspicuous. It's like don't be so obvious. All right. The next one says, what is the meaning of the word chide? We need to say what's the meaning of the word chide as used within the passage, and we need to use the antonym applaud as a context clue. I often chide my husband about his cell phone addiction. All right. And now, when it comes to the word chide, right, we now need to say what is the meaning of the word chide as used within the passage. It says, I often chide my husband about his cell phone addiction. He always checks his messages in the middle of dinner and even at the movies. If he tried to limit his cell phone usage every now and then, I would applaud him for his efforts. Right? And remember, we say that when we encounter unfamiliar words, we can just look at the antonym as clues to determine the word's meaning. And if we look at the word child, and we also look at the applaud, the antonym applaud, we need to give the opposite of applaud. You only applaud or give somebody praise that does efforts or that either gets something right or that's doing something right. So applaud, right, is like where you are praising somebody, but the opposite of applaud is like where you don't. So chide would then mean that you are expressing your disapproval. You're not happy. All right. So now we're going on to our test. We're going on to our test and we are going to determine the meaning of words using antonyms in context. All right. So now we need to say what is the meaning of the word insufficient? We need to say what is the meaning of the word insufficient. As used in the passage. We need to also use the antonym enough as a context clue to help you determine the meaning of that word. So here it says if a criminal trial lawyer for the defense may try to have the case dismissed for a variety of reasons. For example, if they feel like the prosecuting attorney hasn't provided enough proof, they may ask the judge to dismiss the case for insufficient evidence. So now, if we look at the word insufficient and the antonym enough, the opposite of enough is it's not enough. So it means that insufficient. We need to say it's option one, which is inadequate or lacking, option two, unnecessary, or option three, unreliable. All right. So it says, what is the meaning of the word insufficient? So if we were to find the meaning of the word insufficient, then we would say it is inadequate. Remember, if you don't have enough, it means that you are lacking. And the opposite of enough is not enough. So option one is correct. Yes. How do you mean? I don't understand what you're meaning by the concept of this kind of lives. All right, the next one says, what is the meaning of the word conspicuous as used in the passage? We need to use the antonym hidden as the context clue to help you determine the meaning. You mean the live. I think the live is basically here to improve in general because we don't just focus on the one aspect, we focus basically on your content stuff also, within the languages, within English. So it is basically to also, we still do the, it's not like a one-on-one, but it is, we still give you the whole subjects in, it's basically improving on whatever that you are also still doing at school. So vocabulary, basically everything in one. Content, kind of making it a bit easier, or maybe the explanation is a bit, more, to an extent that you can maybe understand a bit more, I think. I do i do live classes, so I don't have, so you can't contact me personally for questions. So for me, if you want to contact me, I guess, and then it's just the conversation that we're having, like you asking questions now in the comment section, in the chat. Unless unless you can maybe speak to Maze, or somebody that is, that you make contact with, that does like the other, that sets you up on one, and then they will maybe give you my contact. But I just do live classes with different grades, and I just focus on English. I'm not sure if that answers the question. The oh the I think the I'm not sure if I should say the management. Yeah, so management, they set you up with tutors who can do one-on-one. That is where you can ask questions. So then they will then give you the contact. Oh, I understand. But like I say, you can maybe just speak to the management and then maybe just ask them how you can get in contact with me. I really don't know how, actually, to be honest with you. I think the contact number is on there or something, because I just do live classes, right? Oh gosh, I really don't know. Let me see. If you go to okay, yeah, I'm showing the screen. If you go to aplusstudents.ca, and then if you scroll right down, you'll basically, I think there's the contact number as well as the email. Just check my screen. If you scroll right down, and then you'll see there is the contact number as well as the email, and then you can just ask them how you get in contact with Nadine or Miss Nadine. So there's the email as well as the contact. I guess they will then be able to direct you as to how we can set up where you can ask me questions specifically. All right. All right. So I'm going to continue now. So you can just contact them or email them and then they will set it up. So it's Nadine. All right. So when we continue with context clues, right, we said we need to find the meaning of the word conspicuous as used in the passage, right? So conspicuous. And remember we said antonyms, right? It is a word. It's like where we find the opposite of the opposite meaning of the word. So we need to use the antonym hidden as context clues to help you determine the meaning. It says, don't be so conspicuous. Detective Katie Coleman said when her partner peered out of the window or car window, open car window with binoculars pressed to his face. We need to say hidden as the subject of the investigation walked down the street. Katie adjusted the angle of the camera on her sunglasses and snapped some photographs. So now we need to find the meaning of the word conspicuous, as in the passage. Hidden, the opposite of hidden, it's like where you, it's not hidden, it's like you can see. So now, if we look at the meaning of either conspicuous or the opposite of hidden, is it obvious or is it impatient? Obvious or impatient? So if we were to find the meaning of hidden or let's say the opposite of hidden or the meaning of conspicuous, then we would say it is obvious, right? What is the meaning of the word rivalry? Rivalry, as used in the passage. We need to use the antonym friendship as a context clue to help you to determine the meaning. It says basketball legends Irvin Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were rivals throughout their college and professional careers. When they shot a commercial together in 1986, however, Johnson and Bird's rivalry transitioned into a friendship that served as the basis for a Broadway show, Magic Bird. We now need to find the meaning of the word rivalry. Is it a violent encounter, option one, or is it a state of competition, option two? Rivalry. And if we were to select the correct answer, right? The meaning of rivalry And we can say it is a state of competition, not a violent encounter, just a state of competition. Because there is a state of competition in the schooling, the careers, the basketball field. All right. Then the next one says, what is the meaning of the word chide as used in the passage? Chide. Use the antonym applaud as the context clue to help you determine the meaning. I often chide my husband about his cell phone addiction. He always checks his messages in the middle of dinner and even at the movies. If he tried to limit his cell phone usage every now and then, I would applaud him for his efforts. So we now need to find the meaning of the word chide. Is it to destroy the power of or to express disapproval of? And if we were to choose the correct option, and then we would say that chide is to express disapproval of something. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on context clues. We had to determine the meaning of the words with antonyms in context. We only got to that. And we said that when it comes to context clues, right, then it means that we have certain words that we can look at in order for us to determine the meaning of certain words. And when it comes to using antonyms, then with antonyms, we can maybe find the opposite of that word in order to help us find the meaning of a specific word. All right, so this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade sevens, for joining the class. And I really hope you are going to have a good day further. So, till next time, goodbye.